Hey everyone, it's Liam gaming again, this time with The Witcher 3, and in this tutorial I want to talk to you a bit about the very complicated character screen which scares the heck out of new players when they come to play this game, but it's actually a very useful area, and once you know what you're looking at, it's not too bad. So I'm very high level in the game, and I've completed lots of quests, so there's lots of stuff we can have a look at in here. The principle's the same, of course, when you're starting out or when you high level, but it's quite good to look at a character with lots of stuff just so you can see the full area filled out. So we hit our main menu button, which is the little button to the right of the X on the Xbox with the little lines. Don't know why it's called, but that one anyway. And when I'm in here, I want to look at inventory, and I hit open menu. Now, the inventory screen has a heck of a lot of stuff in it, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here when you first start? And you can see I've got tons of stuff here. I've got all kinds of stuff. So I'm scrolling through on the left-hand side at the minute, and we have a lot of information. Right up the top left, it shows you how much weight you can carry and how much you're currently using. So you can see it says 132 out of 160, which means I've got a lot of stuff I'm carrying at the minute, but I can carry quite a bit as well. I've then got my amount of money, 7513, just next to it. And then these top ones help filter through the various things that I've got in my inventory, which when you start out, you're like, ooh, I haven't got much at all, so it's hard to say what you've got. The first one, the gear, basically when you go around and you attack monsters and you kill stuff, you can get various components that you can use to craft gear and items, so things like armor and stuff like that, weapons. And then here, the alchemy is funny enough used for alchemy, so that's for brewing things like potions and oils and stuff like that. So if we hover over one, what I want to show you is this particular area. You don't have to worry how much of this stuff you collect because they've got no weight. So you can see this water hag tooth. If we look down below, it says it's a magic item, and that little weigh-in icon with a 0 means it has no weight. So you can collect as much of this stuff as you want. It doesn't matter. You can also see a vague value for it. You'll never get that value from a merchant, but it gives you some idea of how rare it is or how useful it is as we go through the game. You can also disassemble these. Don't worry about that for the minute. I just want to show you the various areas first. The next one shows you your quest items and your other stuff in your inventory. So quest item is, funny enough, used for quests, and this is where you access it. So sometimes a quest will say, oh, you need to don a mask, or you need to use this particular key or whatever. And they just, again, they've got very little weight to them, most of these things, so they're not a big concern to keep them. You can chuck them in your stash afterwards if you wish, or get rid of them or flog them. Just make sure you've done your quest first. And then the other side shows you other types of currency in your inventory, and also stuff you can sell to merchants. So if you go to a general merchant, you can sell this stuff. Now, some stuff is absolute pap and not worth anything. So, for example, I've got a bit of tableware here worth next to nothing. That's pretty pointless, but other stuff can be worth quite a bit of money, like these gold diamond rings. So you can use them, either melt them down into other bits sometimes. So you can see this says it can be sold for a significant sum or dismantled into crafting components. What I generally suggest is just collect everything if you've got the weight for it, and then if you need to dump some stuff, you can always drop it. So you can see when I hover over something, I can hit Y and drop it if I want. And particularly earlier on in the game, when you've not got many saddlebags, which we'll talk about in just a sec, the amount of stuff you've got can be a problem. So that's how you drop it if you need to. But generally, just loot everything, and then flog it if you want, or drop it if you don't want. As we're looking over stuff, the game will give you an idea of how useful something is. So if it's highlighted in blue, you can see it says master item. This kind of yellowy blacky background shows me it's a magic item, and if it's a plain black background, it's a common item. It might be useful for something, but it's not worth a great deal of money. So you can see I've got a lot of junk in here. You'll also find your bits of notes and papers in here, which you don't really need to look at. It's not really that important. You can find them in another area to read them a little easier. So if we go back up to the top, the next one we've got across is food and drink. Food and drink is, funny enough, useful to increase Geralt's vitality, so it's useful to have some on hand. The other important thing is alcohol becomes very important for brewing potions, which when you meditate, he will rebrew any potions that he's made, and I'll talk about potions in just a sec. And you've also got, and this sort of lost me a little bit, this is where Roach's stuff hides, your horse. So you can see the various trophies that you can add to him just here. So trophies you can basically strap to the side of your horse, so you can select one, and then if I move over to the right, I can apply them over here to Roach if I wanted, and it will change the trophy to that one. So trophies you find when you slay various monsters throughout the game, so the bigger monsters, but you can do that if you wish. The next page across, you'll have next to nothing of this when you start the game. These are oils which you can apply to your sword. So if I want to, as you craft these in the alchemy over time, they can give you a perk against certain things. So for example, this first one here gives you 50% attack power versus humans and non-humans. So to apply it, I just hit A, so you can see down the bottom it says apply oil in the helper bit, and then I can go over to my sword and hit A again, and then you see a little drip on the sword which says I've applied an oil to it. Potions, there are various different decoctions and potions that you can make in the alchemy section of the game. You can see I've got lots of them here, and basically they will deplenish as you use them, and if you meditate they will then replenish, so long as you've got some alcohol in your food and drink section that it can use to replenish them with. Across from here you have bombs, and you can see I've got several different types of bombs here. Again, they're made in alchemy, and you can use these to throw from a range at a character, at a beastie or whatever you're fighting. An enemy is the word I'm looking for, and you can apply these down here in your quick slots in your bombs here, and then you have a quick access to these when you're doing combat, which I'll talk about in a separate one. You can also do the same thing with your potions or your food. Put them in your quick access slots here, and then when you are moving around you can hit like the up button or the down button on your D-pad and take that potion without having to go into your inventory. The last one we've got is the weapons and armor section, and this stores any, funny enough, weapons or armor that you find, and you can use these to store various bits that you take off of characters or that you loot off of characters over time. And you can also add these over to the right, which we're going to talk about in just a second, because this is where this gets more interesting. When you hover over a weapon, it will show you the information on the weapon. So damage is pretty obvious, 282 to 344. And then there's a minus next to it. And what that's doing is it's showing me in comparison to my current weapon. If I hold down the LT button, the left trigger, I can show the stats of my current weapon that's applied. So this is my steel sword, which is called Blaive, and you can see it's a lot better than the weapon that I've got on the left hand side, so it's not really worth adding. So one thing you can do quite easily is just whip through these and just see if any show a green, and then it's a better weapon than the one that you've got currently selected. There's also some other things that will appear in weapons that you'll get occasionally, like this horn, which will blow sirens out of the sky. I've also got my crossbows, which again I can apply on the right hand side. If I want to apply a weapon, it's just a case of, again, you can see down the bottom, just if you're ever stuck, have a look at what the bottom icons say, so you can see if I hit A, it will equip that. So if I hit A, you'll see my sword swaps over on the right hand side. So you can see if I just go over here, I've now put this lesser weapon in place of this super duper weapon here. Other thing I want to point out just while we're here is you will also find these rune stones, which can be used to enhance certain weapons further, and those weapons are any that show a little dot on the top left hand side. So if they've got one, you can apply one runestone. Two, you can apply two runestones. And guess what, if there's three? Yep, you can apply 3 runestones. It's worth having a think about what sort of runestones you add. There's different intensities, so there's greater, there's lesser, there's standard, and the greater that is, the more powerful it is and the more valuable they are. So for example, this one adds a 5% chance to cause bleeding. So I could add this to my sword. However, you can see my sword on the right hand side already has runestones in it. If you want to take those runestones out, you have to go to crafting to go see a blacksmith, and then you can dismantle or remove upgrades. I think the thing is remove upgrade, and you can get them out of your sword and change them to other ones if you so wish. The armor side is again very similar, but for the armor, and you can see Geralt can have chest armor, gloves, boots, and trousers. You can see I've not actually added any runestones to my trousers, basically because I've not got any that I think are particularly good at the minute. So I need to go and sort that out at some point. But they are magical items, and again I can have a little look through these to see whether anything is better than my current armor, and not really. It's nothing there of much excitement. So we've gone through that. Another thing on the inventory thing that you can see is a nice preview of your armor. So of course that changes as you take things on or off. So if I unequip this with A, I see a semi-naked Geralt. And we could go back and I could try different armor on him like so, or go back here like so. One thing I want to point out as well is when you're in battle, certain things you can apply. So if you start a battle and you decide you want to add a poison, or an oil rather, you can do that. You can just pause the game, go into the inventory, go to your oils here, grab the oil, apply it, and then get the perk. So, or I think you can change your bombs around as well, and your food and stuff. So it kind of pauses the game and allows you just to mess around with things. The other thing it shows down the bottom right hand side is toxicity, which as you take certain potions, they are poisonous to Geralt, and you can only take so many before he'll start looking really ill. It's quite a nice effect though, because when he's got more toxicity, if you have a close up of his face, you'll see all these veins popping out on his head, and he's looking really rather ill. But yeah, there's certain potions you can get to remove toxicity, which have a look at the potion section of the game where I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this in Alchemy in another movie. And that's about it, really. Hopefully that's explained a little bit about the various different areas. Another thing to bear in mind, just while I remember, is certain armour, which I'll talk about with Witcher gear, will give you a perk if you apply several pieces of the same gear. So there's, you can have Witcher gear, which is all of the armour and weapons and a crossbow, and if you have several of them, you get an extra bonus for having multiple ones. And once you get about level 45, I think the Witcher gear no longer levels up, so level 52 armour of something fairly standard will be better armour than the Witcher armour that you've got. But that's long into the game. Hopefully that was useful to you. If it was, give us a thumbs up. That's much appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again in another tutorial.